Good morning and welcome. I'm Laurel Sepla-Etra, and I'm delighted to be your worship leader this morning. One thing I love about this congregation is the music sung and played by our musicians. I want to extend a very warm welcome to everyone who's visiting us for the first time. Rather than gathering because we all have the same beliefs, we are an intentional community gathered around our shared promise to support each other's individual spiritual journeys. We're also intentional about bringing all ages together. In today's world, that often doesn't happen. But we think it's important to have an adult friend ask a child or youth how they did on that science test they were worried about, and a 30-year-old and 70-year-old chat about life while having coffee after the service. If you're here in person, I hope you'll stay and chat after the service and tell us a little bit about you. If you're joining us online, fill out a visitor form in the link in the description. We'd love to connect with you. We have 2 announcements this morning. After the service today, all newcomers are invited to a new to UU conversation in the listening room, which is through the back of the sanctuary. Reverend David and our membership coordinator, Irene, host this informal get-together to answer questions and help you learn more about our congregation. And next Sunday from 12:30 to 2, we'll have a new member class. If you're interested in deepening your relationship and formally becoming a part of the congregation, this is for you. Lunch will be provided, and Irene and Reverend David will host this chance to take the next step with the church.
It is awfully good to be here with you in the new year. I've been away only one Sunday, our hymn sing Sunday last week. Thanks for leading that. But I haven't seen you for a whole year, so it's good to be together. Our opening words are from the poet and minister Martha Postlewaite, called The Clearing. It goes like this: Do not try to save the whole world or do anything grandiose. Instead, create a clearing in the dense forest of your life and wait there patiently until the song that is your life falls into your own cupped hands and you recognize it and greet it. Only then will you know how to give yourself to this world so worth of rescue. This is what we gather here to do. The very first hymn in our hymnal is from an old poem called A Prayer for This House. It's an intention setting. It's a hoping. It's a new beginning in the middle of a busy life. It's a prayer to make a clearing in the dense forest of our lives, to make a place for the future to fall into our own cupped hands. Will you rise in body or in spirit to sing it together?
Rain
Two monks were traveling together across the countryside when they came to a river. Maybe you know this story. Two monks were traveling together across the countryside when they came to a swift-flowing river. And as they're getting ready to cross it, they see this young, beautiful woman who's also planning to cross, and she asked them if they could help her get across. Now, this is tricky, and they glance at each other because they've taken vows not to touch a woman. Until, without a word, the older monk picks up the woman, carries her across the river, and places her gently on the other side, waits for his companion, and then they make the journey onwards. Now, the younger monk, the non-carrying monk, could not believe what happened because the vow they had taken was unambiguous. And he's speechless. An hour passes without a word between them. You know, you in long-term relationships know when your partner is grumpy but not saying anything? It's that. And a second hour passes, and a third hour passes until at last the younger monk cannot contain himself anymore, and he blurts out, "Dude, we are not permitted to touch a woman, and you carried her across a river. How could you do that?" The older monk says, "Listen, I set her down 3 hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" This is a doorway season, a threshold, an edge. This is a moment in the new year now, between past and future, with the old behind us and the new one just unfolding. The Roman god of the new year, Janus, the god of doorways, has one face that looks forward and another that looks back. And that's the moment we're in right now. What is it you need to leave behind in the year gone by? What are you still carrying that you are ready to set down 3 hours or weeks or months ago or more? In just a moment, we'll light our chalice, the symbol of our liberal faith, whose flame is the warmth of compassion and the fire of justice, whose light is a lamp to each of us on our spiritual paths. I invite you to share your own words for chalice lighting, to turn to a person nearby to you, to share in the chat. It won't be saved online. What is it you need to leave behind in the year gone by? It's one thing to know it, and it's another to say it out loud to another person. A scary thing, maybe. So you can be vague if you need to. But as I light our chalice, find a person nearby to you and share with them. Take a minute. What do you need to leave behind? friends online, they have a lot to leave behind in this room. I don't know if you can hear the sound of it online, but they are working through some things. There is thankfully a coffee hour after the service. Our chalice is lit.
To covenant is to commit that even if we fall short of our aspirations, we will not let go of them. We will never cease from trying again to live them out. In that spirit, gathered in person and online, will you all together speak our covenant aloud? We gather in fellowship to speak truth to each other, to reach out and touch one another, to care with each other, and to seek the truth divine. So be it.
Will you join me in a spirit, in a practice of prayer and meditation? Let's begin with a breath all together. And another. On this Sunday, especially for leaving behind what we don't wish to bring forward, and then setting our intention for what comes next. Share these words by the poet E.E. Cummings, and I'll read this through 3 times, and I invite you as you hear it each to listen first for yourself, and then for the people you love, and then for the world. This called Let It Go. Let it go, the smashed word, broken open vow, or the oath cracked lengthwise. Let it go. It was sworn to go. Let them go, the truthful liars and the false fair friends, and the boths and the neithers. You must let them go. They were born to go. Let all go, the big, small, middling, tall, bigger, really, the biggest, and all things. Let all go, dear. So comes love. And again, as we settle ourselves deeper, thinking on the web of relationships and loves, the people we know and care for and worry over and fight with, let it go. The smashed word, broken, open vow, or the oath cracked lengthwise. Let it go. It was sworn to go. Let them go. The truthful liars and the false fair friends and the boths and the neithers. You must let them go. They were born to go. Let all go. The big, small, middling, tall, bigger, really the biggest, and all things. Let all go. Dear, so comes love. And as we settle deeper still, expanding the circle of attention and compassion to embrace the world beyond ourselves and our relationships, to extend to those unknown people. Let it go. The smashed word, broken open vow, or oath cracked lengthwise, let it go. It was sworn to go. Let them go. The truthful liars and the fair false friends and the boths and the neithers. You must let them go. They were born to go. Let all go. The big, small, middling, tall, bigger, really the biggest, and all things. Let all go dear. Dear, so comes love. When we gather each week and come forward to place a stone into the earth, we enact in ritual the outward expression of an inward movement in our lives that sometimes unfolds over years. In coming forward, in moving our bodies, in placing stones that symbolize your joys and your sorrows, we're gardeners of our own souls. We're tending and training and teaching ourselves to recognize that hope and suffering are woven daily into our living. In ritual, we're becoming a people who recognize the beauty and the tragedy which suffuse this world. And in a few moments, for those of us gathered in person, I'll invite you to come forward and silently to take a stone, to feel its weight in your hand, to let your body warm it, and for that stone to be an emblem of your thankfulness and your worry both. To let it be a token of what needs to stay behind, and then to place it into the sacred earth in the company of all the joys and the sorrows of this gathered community. As this new year begins, there is so much that weighs on us. And lift up in the love of this community these concerns from our members and friends. Our care for Henry Kroll, whose cousin Leslie died on Christmas Eve. Cindy Schlosser asks us to think of Hala, that he might reunite with his family, hold his children, and find safety soon. We send our care and our love to Mary Pierce. Her brother died unexpectedly on Monday. We think, too, of longtime member Lynn Rummel. Lynn died on December 20th at the age of 83. May her memory be a blessing. We think of our members and friends and all those folks living at Golden West following the announcement the assisted living unit is closing, and all the lives that upends, and the circles that spreads out to. Whitney and Jim ask us, and we hold with love Elliot, hoping for him quick healing for his chest surgery on Monday. That comes tomorrow to remove his bar. And we hold with love Neil McBurnett, his father, who was president of the Unitarian Church in Utica in the 60s and turned 99 in October, passed away in December. May he rest in peace. Friends, these are just the visible voices and names. Underneath them is all of our grief, and all of our hope is our gratitude and our joy too. And as you feel moved, I invite you to come forward to take a stone and silently place it in the earth. high tide has come in and washed up 10,000 starfish on shore. And along comes a little kid tossing them back in the ocean one by one. He's gotten about 10 feet down the beach in the last hour. And his mom's packing up. They're heading home, and she asks him tenderly, "Oh, sweet child, why? There's 10 times 10,000. What difference can you make?" And he picks up another one, and he tosses it back in, and he says, "Well, I made a difference for that one." I had a colleague tell me once that growing up Unitarian Universalist, she didn't have very many experiences sitting and wrestling with uncomfortable stories. I don't know that this is exactly an uncomfortable story, the starfish. But let's wrestle a little bit anyway. Is this a pleasant story? Well, look, the kid cannot expect to save all the starfish. He doesn't expect to save all the starfish. He has no hope of saving all the starfish. They're going to die around him by the thousands while he's on his way back home again. But if you identify with him, then you will have heard, or you will have asked yourself the same kind of question we could ask this kid. Same sort of thought process might run through your head, thinking of him or yourself. It goes like this: are you naive? What do you think you're accomplishing? Who do you think you are? Don't you have anything better to do with yourself than toss starfish in the ocean? Why not enjoy the beauty of the beach? Why not ignore the dying echinoderms? What hope do you have? Well, there's at least two ways to answer that question, to answer all these questions. And the first one is the answer the child gives. It goes like this: I saved this one. A little later in the service, we're not going to end homelessness in Boulder when we collect money for the Boulder Shelter for the Homeless. But we are going to make a difference for someone who needs a place to stay. The Talmud, a set of Jewish commentaries, declares you're not required to finish your work, but you're also not at liberty to stop doing it. Meaning, you're not called to save the whole world personally, but you are called to do what you can. And you work to help heal the world, not because you are going to do it on your own, but because you can make a difference for someone. And that kind of hope is not optimism. At this time of year, especially when the light is just starting to return, when seasonal mood changes are sharpening their knives for the worst of it that's coming, it's worth remembering what hope means. The author Rebecca Solnit says, hope is an embrace of the unknown and unknowable. Hope is an alternative to the certainty of both optimists and pessimists. Optimists think it will all be fine without our involvement. And pessimists take the opposite position, but both excuse themselves from acting. Hope, she says, this is something different. Hope is the belief that what we do matters, even though how and when it may matter, who and what it may impact, are not things we can know beforehand. We may not, in fact, know them afterward either, but they matter all the same. It matters what we do. That's the answer the child gives, throwing back the starfish. But there's a second kind of response, which is not about the hope exactly of making a difference on whatever small patch of ground you move through. The child could have said, we can say, I am doing this because to do it transforms my own life as much as it transforms the lives of these starfish. Because only by acting with compassion, only by doing, do I become a person of compassion. I'm practicing not closing my eyes to the reality, the difficult reality of the world around me. We're not called to save the world, but we are called to be spiritually and mentally healthy. We're called to tell the truth when the world is in denial. We're called to be people of integrity, whose actions match our values, and that is not easy, and sometimes it looks like foolishness. But always it means hope. It's a belief and a trust in the possibility of becoming, for yourself as much as for the world. A true story. Many years ago, the Unitarian Church of Stowe and Acton, which is not too far from where I grew up in Massachusetts, church was in a period of decline in membership. It was in a period of profound decline in membership. And at the annual meeting that winter, 2 people showed up. This was tricky. Apparently, their bylaws did not specify a minimum quorum. I appreciate the laugh for bylaws humor always. Only 2 members showed up, which was tricky because the vote they needed to take that day was on whether or not to close the church permanently. And one of them voted yes, and the other voted no. And there was this impasse until, and again, this is a true story, I'm told, until a 3rd member arrived, and they voted to keep the church open. And so they did. And for many, many years after that, maybe even today, at their annual meeting, they take a vote about whether or not to keep the church open for another year. And always still they vote yes, which is to say they vote for the possibility of becoming. They vote for the potential. Hope, says one poet, has holes in its pockets. Hope has holes in its pockets. It leaves little crumb trails so that we, when anxious, can follow it. And hope's secret is it doesn't know the destination. It only knows that all roads begin with one foot in front of the other. Hope, that is not a bet on a future outcome, but a desire, a practice, an active thing to choose which shapes the life you're going to live. Clear-eyed about the truth of what is, hope is our map of where we're trying to get to, and then one foot in front of the other. That kind of hoping is not the thinness of a New Year's resolution, so often left, maybe not for all of you, but so often left behind in a few weeks. This kind of hope instead is an intention, and I invite you into intention setting for the year. We've thought and we've talked and we've said aloud already what we want to leave behind. Now the question is, what will we invite in? What will you ask this new year? A friend suggests that to move into the future with intention requires first a pause, a consideration of what needs to change, a clearing in the woods of our lives. So let us pause now and acknowledge the turning of one year into another. And let's not just talk about pausing. Let's do it. Take a breath with me. And another, but this time deeper, like you've finally come through the woods to the clearing and the fallen log that you can sit down and take your boots off, at least for a little while. That kind of a breath. From this place, in this stillness, we begin to set an intention, an invitation to yourself, who you want to be and for whom, how you want to respond to the challenges and gifts. It's an intention for everyday living. I invite you to put your hands together, one over the other in your lap, as if you're holding something, as if you're holding that intention, as if you've picked up a pine cone off the ground from where you found yourself. And you're holding this thing, feeling both the weight of it and the delicateness of it. Knowing that right there in what you've got in your hand is a seed, a dozen seeds. You're picking this up. For a few moments, we'll hold silence. And Ben, will you give us a little bit of the hymn we're going to sing together soon? Give us an anchor, a bed. Give us a ground of music, a clearing to rest our silence on. Hold that pine cone in your hands. And say to yourself quietly at first, just inside your own head at first, say to yourself the word or phrase that describes the shift you're intending. Say, I am, and fill in that blank. Or say, I hold, I seek, I welcome, and fill in that blank. Take a few minutes in silence, a few moments in silence to set that I am, I hold, I seek. And then, friends, whisper those words out loud. It can be awfully quiet, it can be almost invisibly quiet, but whisper them out loud. Make that intention real in your body, the muscles of your breath and your voice. And let those whispers fill this room like breeze moving through. Amen. Years ago, driving the carpool of kids to school, I put on a recording of My Life Flows On, an endless song, and enjoying the music in the early morning light zipping down the highways, one kid asked, "What's this song about?" What's this about? It's about the joy that suffuses the world, that fills all the moments of it, even though there is so much suffering and so many bad things happening. Okay, she said, but I was on a roll already. I needed more than one sentence. I kept going. I said, it's about how hate and suffering and injustice are real and terrible, and beauty and joy are real too. And we can live with integrity and hope in that world. We can live that way because hope gets the last word. Will you rise in body or in spirit to sing it?
I hear the real, the far off hymn.
Friends, come back. Come back to the first verse with me again. Come back again. Bring us back, AV folks. We can't keep from singing. No lyrics are not going to keep us from singing. Come on.
My life goes on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ring. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing?
That's how to do it.
Oh my gosh, that was one of my favorite hymns, and I thank you so much for singing it. Today, our offering goes to the Boulder Shelter for the Homeless, and I am delighted to welcome Janet Evans to tell us a bit about the shelter's good work.
Thanks, Laurel. Hey, good morning. So today, as you heard, we're going to share our offering plate with the Boulder Shelter for the Homeless, and I want to tell you about their 2022 report card. So they had, in 2022, 51,453 overnight stays. Wow. They served over 103,000 meals, and they had 90 permanent housing placements in 2022, and since 2017, they have placed 493 permanent houses for people. So at the shelter, they do what they call housing-focused shelter. And housing-focused shelter, it reaches beyond just a short-term service to connect people to real sustainable solutions. Housing-focused is not housing only. Outreach, engagement, sheltering, counseling, case management, and services continue to be provided, but are viewed as tools to help people end their homelessness journey. The Boulder Shelter wants to wish you a happy new year and a community filled with kindness and caring.
Thank you, Janet. I invite you to give as generously as you are able. For those online, you can use the QR code or find a link in the video description. For those gathered in person, you can scan the QR code or make a donation as the ushers now pass the baskets. May our gifts be used to enact justice, bringing peace and love to the Boulder community.
May these gifts strengthen our larger community and support our devotion to loving service. We close with these words from John O'Donohue, this called A Blessing for the New Year. May it be so for you. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets in you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, azure, blue, come to awaken inside. May they awaken in you a meadow of delight. And when the canvas frays in the currach of thought and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a yellow path of moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life. Will you rise in body or in spirit? And we'll close in song.